Good morning, afternoon, evening. I hope you are getting away from the mold of a regular class and watching it whenever you feel like. These sessions are meant to be when you feel like. When you feel the need, you can binge watch, you can watch it episodically as you like it. Till now, we have been mostly looking at the preamble, orientation for what the basics of entrepreneur and entrepreneurial and entrepreneurship is. Today onwards, we will get into the more serious details of intuitive studies. The real details will start once you start actually working on it. Like I said, these subjects cannot be taught. We can open the door for you, and how you peep in, where you spot, we have to guide you through that part, because each of you ideally should have a separate journey, because no two businesses are exactly alike, nor should your learning be. And your business and you, no matter what role you are playing in that, are kind of one of the kind made for each other type. Each of you will have your own perspective, and that's very important. Apart from in the other courses, you are sort of encouraged to look at a common level, a mid-level. Here, right from the onset, I want to encourage you to be different. At the same time, be unified. The things about we talked about, team spirit and all is there. So I'll start with the basics of what is a business. So a business is basically an entity. We'll call it B, for example, right? It has two different things. It has what we'll call stakeholders and it has customers. Okay? The stakeholders can be of several types. They are leaders, employees. We will have detailed things in the reading list we have given it. I don't want to waste time looking at what stakeholders is. Broadly, your shareholders, your employees, your support system, your vendors, your maybe material suppliers, anything who is looking at. So basically, the customer is buying something. It could be a product, it could be a service, it could be an intermediary, but essentially product and service will be the broad categories. Now, to make that, whatever is the contribution made from different people, anyone who's contributing is a stakeholder. Could be someone supplying a material, could be someone supplying money. People who supply money, we call them investors, or they are shareholders. Someone could be supplying their intellectual capital or their expertise. These would typically be employees and leaders or entrepreneurs who are starting. The flow is very simple. You make it at a particular cost, you sell it at a particular price, and your price minus cost is equal to your profit. So cost is there for anyone who is giving services, because they have a price also. So whatever price you are paying for your aligning or people who are supplying to you is essentially the sum of it is your cost. This will include the electricity bills, this will include your office running costs, chai, coffee, biscuit, whatever your people, what we are having, the salaries that you are taking, all those things are your costs. The profit, so imagine a person who is just putting capital. He can earn in two ways. He can give it as a debt and earn from that. In that case, the interest will go as a cost. Whereas, there are people who look at the profit being accumulated and they would take a part of the profit. So this is the fundamental of a business. Now, based on these things, valuations and all the things that you hear on paper that you look at, all of this comes from the overall price that we are able to comment, which is basically the revenue in many ways. So that you are doing. So price sort of maps to revenue, because that's the earning. So you have a price multiplied the number of sales you have done, that whole thing is revenue. So this is where the price, then the quantum, that leads to revenue. Okay? Profit is cost minus that revenue. That is your profit. So revenue is an indicator of how valuable the company is. So is profit, because finally that's there. So this is called the top line. This is called the bottom line. Valuations can be based on any of these principles. Classic example is all the startups that you are very gung-ho about. Their top line is what valuation is based on, because none of them have a green or a positive bottom line yet. They are all in losses. Losses means it's a green bottom line. That means more money is going in from whatever investments and all have happened to sustain the business, to keep it running, because there is no profit. But top line says the growth is there. There is a visibility of profit, and many people do that part. So investment is more of that speculation, that how do I feel the future returns of it. Just like you keep in FD where you are assured returns of, let's say, 6% or 7% per year. In an investment of any other nature, especially in investments in startups and all, it's a very high risk element, because the chance of failure is very high. But you invest based on either the bottom line and top line. As a good entrepreneur, the balance between this is very important. But finally, in the long term, this is what is the biggest thing. This is also important. So getting a $1 billion valuation is not the same as getting a $1 billion revenue. Please remember that, and I hope that some of you aspire to make $1 billion revenue companies, because that's the biggest thing. The heuristics, and most importantly, the kind of parts that we look at, it is sanguine more or less that in today's time and price, if you are a $1 billion revenue company, you will make profit. Because if you are looking at that scale, it's very difficult to sustain. You will either die out before that, but if you have reached the stage of a $1 billion revenue, you more or less will sustain. So that's the basics of how business works on these aspects. What I'll do is I'll take a short break, clean up the table, clean up the blackboard, etc., and come back to you with the next session. Thank you so much for